I'm here in Anne Priscilla Bridal with esteemed Royal Couturier Stewart Parvin as he prepares to launch his 2016 collection at White Galleries this year. And I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions about kind of your career and the dresses and things.
Fabulous.
If that's okay. Fantastic. So what made you start designing bridal wear, Stewart?
Originally, when I left art college, I was looking for a job. A friend of mine came to me and said, "Look, I've got a friend who would like a wedding dress designing. Would you be interested in seeing her? And maybe the two of you can come to some arrangement." So I went to see this girl, sort of on the off chance that I would do something, and I ended up by doing the wedding dress, the bridesmaids, and the matron of honour, and it was a massive wedding. It was a really beautiful wedding. It was kind of, I suppose it was the height of 4 weddings and a funeral, and it was at the Natural History Museum. And I mean, it was an incredible, really grand wedding, and her dress was really beautiful. It was very much unlike anything else that was around at the time. And then from that, whilst I had a job and was sort of gainfully employed doing other things, I got so many recommendations from people who were at the wedding or people who knew people at the wedding. And I did another girlfriend of mine, I did her dress, and she got married at St Giles's Cathedral in Edinburgh, and from her the same thing happened. So I had these two sort of streams of girls who came to me, and probably for the next 15 years I was making dresses for people who had either been at or knew somebody who had been at these two weddings.
Original weddings.
Yeah, so those are my two original ones. And then eventually, when I started my own collection, we still kind of did special dresses, and it got to a point where I thought, actually, I'm going to do a special wedding collection. And so it must be about sort of 12, 14 years ago, we decided, here's the collection which we did.
Absolutely. And obviously you do the ready-wear as well, ready-wear collections from your boutiques in London. Is it quite a difficult transition to make between the two? Is there a lot of sort of other skills required, or is it quite
No, it's I think they go together really well. But the one thing what I do for the day wear and the evening wear does influence what I do for weddings, but the wedding collection evolves much more slowly, and we often find that we introduce things, and then you've got to wait maybe 2 or 3 years before actually the general public pick up on those, and we're basically too advanced. So often the things that sell, the things that are in the collection one year, perhaps don't go on to sell for maybe 1 or 2 years because we're just too much in advance for it. So because I think wedding is slightly slower and at catching up on trends.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have a specific woman or a venue or a time of year in mind when you design your bridal collections?
I think that people are getting married. There's so many. If you take one type of girl, there's so many options she could have. Yeah. So, and I think we cater to a lot of different types of people. I think there's perhaps there's a core customer we have who is looks a particular way. They really care about how they look. They appreciate quality. They like understated design. They want sophistication. They want something that's original, not a copy of something else. So, but they may want a slightly 50s influence, or they may want to be sort of like really modern. They may want to be funky. And so we can cater to all those within that parameter. And if I go out of that parameter, then I'm doing something that's not what I like, and actually it's not what I do. So it's there's lots of options.
Absolutely. And what's the most exciting or challenging part, do you think, about dressing a bride for her big day?
I think it's finding a dress that when a girl walks up the aisle, she wants to look like herself at her most beautiful, and people say, "Oh my God, you look beautiful." The dress is slightly secondary to that, because you don't want to be overpowered by the dress. There's a lot of dresses out there that you could walk up the aisle and, what a beautiful dress. That shouldn't be the first thing that people say. The first thing all your friends say, "Oh my God, you look beautiful. You look the best you've ever looked." And that is because the dress is perfect and the dress fits perfectly.
Absolutely.